So what we're going to do is we're going to cut along this line here. This obviously needs replacing, but the sill needs to go in first. But we've got a seam here, which we know we can connect straight to the sill, so we can get this absolutely perfect. We'll do all the measurements, but then we can get the back of the sill in, because we can cut it off at the front, and we know exactly where it fits at the front. So that's going to be a really good start. And when the sill's off, we can cut all that bad metal out in there and re-weld it, because there's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle in there. Yeah, so this isn't attached. Down here, it was all broken off. The back panel's actually in reasonably good nick, but we're going to replace the base of it. It's a bit thin at the base, but it's fine further up. We've got one of these coming, the front, and we've got a cover plate for where the striker goes. So, but it's quite complicated in here. So what we did was we welded a brace to the front of the car, because when we take the sill off, it will obviously start to bend. But this is really solid, and we're going to support this brace off the floor, which will make its own little jig. And we'll do it front and back. We've got inch bar that we're going to do it with. So this will hold the car in place while we replace this sill. And then we can take this off and start rebuilding the rest of the car once the back of the sill and the front of the sill are in. So we've got a plan, pretty good plan. We've got a bit more support we've got to put in, but we've welded in here to stop the whole thing moving, and this is super solid, and there's a jacking point under here which is actually in quite good nick. We've got to take those cables out, but that's fair enough because we've got a repair panel for that. So we've got to get on and do it, and we'll come back in a bit and show you. So you've seen it all being lined up. I'm going to weld that. That's a little welding magnet, they're really handy. So this is now in place, we're going to weld it. This is absolutely solid. So it'll just give an extra support when we cut everything off. Again, I'm just going to weld it. I'll show you what it looks like afterwards.
Well, because Dad grew up in West Lothian, obviously the thing to eat, you know, you don't have, as far as he's concerned, healthy food isn't a thing. So for this is the shortbread fingers for today. So it's just butter and sugar. It's perfect for a cup of tea.
Good Scottish biscuit.
Yeah.
Cut the back off the sill here. I've cut the front off it because I need to get inside to cut it out, because I don't want to cut it down the seam because it's a bit difficult. We'll cut it at the back and it'll be perfect alignment for this piece of steel here, which we know is still solid at this point up here. That'll be fine. We'll probably replace this in 2 parts anyway. So yeah, I'll show you what we're going to do now, which is take this apart. Sill. It's amazing how bad it is at the bottom. You can still see it's almost looks galvanized, but it's not. It's just paint. In fact, I don't know if it was even painted, to be honest. I think I just put it on without painting it. But anyway, we won't do that. And you can see under here, yeah, there's no. Oh no, there is silver paint. This looks like weld through primer. We'll let them off. Well, I keep saying getting there. We're not getting there. We're miles away from it, but every little step helps. I've cut the back of the sill off here. I've cut this out, and there's a seam here that we need to find the edge of. So we'll cut it from here because it means we get a much better line, so we can grind the old weld off, but we'll cut it slightly back from the edge. And as we hoped, you know, these supports have done their job, and they're keeping the car in good shape. And you can see this isn't actually attached anymore. I've cut it right down both sides at the back. So once I cut through here, that's going to come off, and then we can get into there and start welding what needs to be welded in there. There's some plates in there we'll probably do when the car's on its rotisserie, because you just can't get to it. And also, we're not just going to weld it on one side, we're going to weld both sides. So we'll be doing this anyway when the car's on the rotisserie. Like when the floor's put in, we'll weld it up here, but then we'll turn the car over and we'll weld it underneath as well. Seam weld the whole thing. So we've cut through the sill right through here. And it's perfectly straight, which is a good sign, because sometimes when you do these kind of things, you end up with a, like you'll cut through with a grinder and it'll start to twist, which proves you haven't supported the car properly. So we've got those are doing their job, and the jacks at the front are doing their job as well. And you know, this has come off perfectly straight, so we've got a really good place to, sorry about the noise, to re-weld it. Cut through here, another bit of sill, and that allows us to see the geometry in here. It's actually going to be really easy to patch that. This is the jacking point. This is actually our jacking point material when we bought it, because these are actually quite expensive, and there's no point really, because, well, there's just no point. It's only a kind of straight section bar with a hole in it, chamfered end. Get it off at the front in a minute. Need to clear some stuff up though, and yeah. So now we're going to cut. There's a cross member in here, and there's a flange here. This flange needs to come out, but it's easier for me to cut again as I did here, so I can leave the welds in place. I'll cut straight through. I'll cut this box section out, the sill, what that is, and it will mean we can have a really nice clean edge here, so we know exactly where it needs to weld back on, so we'll get it in the right place. Okay, so the seatbelt mount from the top of the sill is 10 centimeters, 100 millimeters exactly. This is now supported to here and the car, so it's pretty solid. I'm going to put a bar across there at some point over here to stabilize those two, but I don't need to do it right now, because the car's supported on jacks everywhere and axle stands. And this is our level. We know it's completely level. And we're just about to cut this out. Cut this out so we can get to that cross member. Huh? Oh, no car left. So you can see roughly what we're trying to do, because you can see the weld along here where it attaches to the cross member, and the cross member is now supported by this, which means when we put the sill back in, hopefully tomorrow, we've got starting to get a solid car for once, which means we can get it off to the sandblaster quicker than we kind of hoped. So measuring down just to check this line. It doesn't have to be accurate because we're going to grind the weld down anyway, but we need to get it. We don't want to cut into the box section, so I'll cut above that line, which I've just drawn here with the angle grinder.
Right, so I'm going to take this off because I need to take it off to get it out of the bulkhead grommet. But this just goes to the various things, driver, window, things like that.
Right, okay.
Passenger window switch, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, brown and blue goes to brown and blue. Pretty simple. That's already pulled out of there, but white and red goes to white and red.
Well, the front of the car, right, is welded to the back of the car with a thick seam, and it's got a tiny spot weld at the top, then nothing for about 2 inches, and then a tiny spot weld, then a longer spot weld, then another 3 inches, and then another spot weld, and then nothing. Look at it. It's just
it's the same as the back. Everything is the same.
That's terrible.
Tomorrow, what, 115s?
125s.
What, the big ones?
Yeah.
Right.
No?
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
Trying to make sense. Make it easier. This will cut straight through here. The big one.
Yeah.
In my face! So
That's a brake proportioning valve or brake balancer.
lift it up so we can see it properly.
There we go. So it has incoming brake pressure here, and what it does is limits the pressure coming out to the back. So it means when you stamp on the pedal, it stops the back brakes locking up for the fronts.
And we need the outrigger is good inside, but you can see it's gone. And the jacking point is welded to it, and it's gone completely. But look at that jacking point. The jacking point, there's nothing left of it.
Just the corners.
Oh my. The jacking point.
Oh, it's got the jacking point on my car.
Ye of little faith. Next to nothing wrong with this car.
Yeah.
I don't know why our viewers were saying. Some of them said it's unrestorable. Nothing's unrestorable. You just got to have faith. Yeah, there's all the metal.
Oh yeah. You melt it down and you got the thermite out of that.
Alex, you and your thermite and your drug dealing.
Was it cutting catalytic converters off?
Oh, and cutting catalytic converters off, yeah. Got like that. Come on then. So you can see.
You sure it's still working?
Yeah, it is, yeah. So you can see where that's going to go. And we've got a bit of grinding to do, but we'll get that in place quite quickly, I think. Yeah. And the rest of the sills are behind Alex. There's an outer piece that goes onto that. I think that was a really good day. And Alex has got pretty much the whole wiring loom out. We want to take we're being a bit of a pain. We want to take the wiring loom out intact because we will replace it, but it's so much easier if you understand where all the parts are. So
not all of it needs replacing. Some of the wires are perfectly fine.
I mean, I am quite impressed actually. The wiring is in good nick, but there's no reason why it wouldn't be, right?
Well, it's funny because a lot of times the wires get stiff, but these are all still really flexible.
Yeah, no, it's really good
Some
quality.
of them are cracked and stiff, like the ones that went onto the engine are here, and the ones that went onto the gearbox get stiff. So we'll have to redo those, but all the others that were in the interior are absolutely fine. They're all really flexible.